Good afternoon. My name is Fred Moore. I'm a retired Lutheran pastor and a member here at St. John. Today I'm going to be reading with you chapter 13 of Matthew's Gospel, and I'll be reading from the Revised Standard Version. You might recall that in chapter 12 we read about the conflict that grew up between the Pharisees, the religious leaders of his day, and Jesus. The Pharisees had put the law above the needs of people, and Jesus came along and put the needs of people above the law. In chapter 13, we read of the teachings of Jesus and his use of parables. From verse 1, "That same day Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea, and great crowds gathered about him, so that he got into a boat and sat there, and the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on rocky ground where they had not much soil, and immediately they sprang up. And since they had no depth of soil, when the sun arose, they were scorched. And since they had no root, they withered away. Other seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Still other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Then the disciples came and said to him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" And he answered them, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to him who has will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. With them indeed is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which says, You shall indeed hear, but never understand. You shall indeed see, but never perceive. For this people's heart has grown dull, and their ears are heavy of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should perceive with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn to me to heal them. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Truly I say to you, many prophets and righteous men longed to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in his heart. This is what was sown along the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, endures for a while, but when tribulation or persecution arise, account of the word, he immediately falls away. For what was sown among thorns, this is he who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the delight in the riches choke that word, and it proves unfruitful. As for what was sown on good soil, that is he who understands it and hears it, and he indeed bears fruit, and yields in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and in yet another 30. Another parable he put to them before them, saying, The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat, and then snuck away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared also. And the servants of the householder came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then has it weeds? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants then said to him, Then do you want us to go and gather them? But he said, No, lest in gathering the weeds you root up the wheat along with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time I will tell the reapers, Gather the weeds first, and bind them into bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. We move ahead now to verse 53 of chapter 13. And when Jesus had finished these parables, he went away from there, and coming to his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, so that they were astonished and said, Where did this man get this wisdom and these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not this his mother called Mary? And are not his brothers James and Joseph and Simon and Judah with us? And are not all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all this? And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, A prophet is not without honor except in his own country and in his own house. And he did not do many mighty works there because of their unbelief. Here ends the chapter 13. I'd like to close out our time together this morning by once more visiting one of the great saints in the history of the church, the man we call Francis of Assisi. Francis had a great, impressive amount of works that he did, serving the church and the poor and teaching the young. But we have come to him primarily by a simple and eloquent prayer that we call the prayer of St. Francis. Let me pray that with you now. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much to seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.